Ciao! Today we're making something extra special, loved by children, loved by adults, ideal for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, any day of the week. I will be stuffing some chicken legs which I've just deboned, but I've left one so I can show you what I do. And you can ask your butcher, but this is dead easy and I'm going to show you how to do it in the safest way possible. All you need is a pair of scissors, sharp little knife, chicken leg, and gravity. First thing to do is ensure that your knife is really sharp and go along at the bottom of the leg where the knuckle is and just score it until you can hear that the knife is touching the bone. Now we have to deal with two bones, the top one and the one inside the leg itself. Pair of scissors and go in, and the first thing you need to do is to ensure that you can get hold of the knuckle and try and clear the bone, the top of the bone, as much as possible from any meat that is hanging in there. And that is perfect. As you can see, I can get hold of the entire leg from the little knuckle up here. Sharp knife and go against the bone and start shaving it, really, no different than shaving anything. And you need to ensure that the blade is against the bone and just enable gravity and your knife to do the job, really.
It's a bit more of a sort of scraping down against the bone and scraping the flesh off. Yeah?
Correct. And hold the leg away from the worktop and just gently start scraping it off. It might not be the most conventional way a butcher would do it, because they're much quicker, but the top of the leg, literally within 30 seconds, less than a minute in any case, I'm there already. And as you can see, I gather speed as I go down, and my fingers are safe because I'm away from the knife, and as I say, gravity is doing the work. Eventually you'll get to a point where nothing happens because you have reached the knuckle, and that is dead simple. Get hold of the scissors and just start cutting through the cartilage, and there you go, job done. First bone is off. Admittedly, the bone inside the leg is a little bit more difficult because it's now buried inside, but again, not a big deal. Get hold of the scissors and cut your way through the cartilage around the top of the knuckle. All I need to do is to free it enough so that I can get hold of it with my fingers, just like this. And here, where you got some meat, just go in with your scissors and just cut it through. And once you've got it in your hand, really it's that simple again. Try and do it from over here, closest to the handle, so that you got more control. And again, let gravity do the work. And safely, as you have got your knife away from your hand, work your way down. And that's it now. I've reached a point where there is nothing else left. And as I scored the skin at the beginning, it's that simple. Just gently pull it, and second bone is off again.
It literally took
a couple of minutes top.
Yeah, a few minutes.
So of course the chicken is now inside out, so just use your fingers and turn it back as it was originally. And here you have a lovely deboned chicken leg. Of course, you can also buy, I think you can buy deboned chicken thighs, and this recipe is ideal also for chicken thighs if you do not want to debone it, but literally 2 minutes, that's all it took. I'm going to also show you what I'll be eating with my chicken. So I'm going to be making the stuffing next, but I'll do a little marinade with breadcrumbs and parsley, which will be used on both the stuffing and to marinate the vegetables. I will be using 3 types of herbs, parsley, rosemary and sage. I'll remove the leaves from the rosemary, so this can go in the bin.
If you notice, everybody, how he's managed to burn his bowl.
I know. I need to sort that out, so perhaps I'll do a little short and I'll show you what I do to fix it. But of course it's all presentational, it doesn't stop me from chopping my parsley and my rosemary and sage.
May I say, everybody, I've said about the rosemary and the sage. They're my preferences for today's dish.
The combination of these 3 herbs really draw the flavor of the chicken, but of course if you like something else like oregano or basil, by all means you can choose whatever you like, but I fully recommend definitely rosemary, sage and parsley with what I'm doing. Generous handful of course, and they go in a bowl for now. So I've got 5 chicken legs to stuff, but also some marinade for the top of the vegetables. So I'm going to be using 5 tablespoons of breadcrumbs, 1 per leg, so this is number 4 and this is number 5, and a couple for my vegetables. Half a teaspoon of salt and some pepper, followed by 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. The Parmesan cheese will melt, and I will be adding some other cheese, and it will really draw some flavors with the rosemary and the parsley They are absolutely an ideal combo. This is smoked pancetta. You can use anything you like. You can use bacon, or you can also use ham if you wish, or maybe even Parma ham, or nothing at all, clearly. But the smoked pancetta, again, combined with all of the rest of the ingredients, will be a perfect addition to this dish. But I'm not going to use a lot, so I will remove the rind from the outside. I've got 5 legs, so I'll do 1 piece per leg. But I will not be putting any on the vegetables. These are just for the inside of the legs. And lastly, I'm now removing the skin from 1 medium-sized clove of garlic. And using a garlic crusher, I'm now adding it to the rest of my breadcrumbs mix. So I'm mixing everything together, and I'm now going to remove some of my marinade. I call it marinade, but it's breadcrumbs really. 4 spoons for my vegetables, maybe 4.5. And in the remainder, I'll break in an egg. The purpose of the egg is to help binding everything together. So time to stuff the chicken legs. I've already done one, and I'll show you what I do. First of all, I'll get hold of some of my mix, and as it is nice and damp, I squeeze it in my hand so that it's workable. Like this, it becomes all in one piece. I get hold of a chicken leg, and I'll push it inside as much as I can until I can feel it at the end here. Get hold of one piece of my pancetta and put it in. This is smoked Scamorza. You can also use cheddar, or you can use any cheese that you like. Provolone is another good Italian cheese you can use, or no cheese at all if you don't like cheese. But nevertheless, it goes inside as well. And I'll finish the way I started. Again, another little bowl of my mix. Get hold of the leg and I'll put it in there. I've got some toothpicks here, so I'll close the leg. You don't have to be a surgeon when you do this, by the way. It's just a way to ensure that it stays roughly closed. And using the toothpick, just put it through the best you can and go through both sides so that the leg stays close. And there it is, job done. And all my legs are done, and I will quickly show you what I do with my vegetables next. So here are my vegetables, and I've got here 1 red pepper, a couple of carrots, a few potatoes and a large onion. And I'll put them inside a large bowl. I add a little olive oil, maybe more than a little actually. And I'll give everything a good mix together so that the oil covers the surface of all vegetables. Remember the breadcrumbs mixture which I reserved earlier? That can go in now. Once again, I'll mix it with my hands, and the oil will help everything bind together. Oven dish. I've put a little oil at the bottom, and I'll put a couple of rosemary sprigs at the very, very bottom. The reason why I put that at the bottom is because I want the lovely flavor from the rosemary to rise and go through the vegetables and the chicken. Otherwise, if I put it at the top, I'll make the oven nice and flavorful and it'll burn. So let's stay lovely and moist. And the first thing I'll do is position all of my vegetables inside the dish on top of the rosemary. I've got a little mixture left. I'll leave that for the end to sprinkle on top of the chicken. Talking of which, chicken comes next, so I'll position the chicken on top of all of my vegetables next. A little drizzle of olive oil on top of the chicken. Spread it with my fingers to ensure that everything is properly covered. I'll go along and sprinkle the rest of the breadcrumb which I had left over. And I'm done. I'll pop it in the oven, which is on at 180 degrees. And that will be anything between 45 minutes to 1 hour. I want obviously the chicken to cook, but I want a lovely golden crust on top. But do keep an eye on it, especially after 40 minutes in case you smell burning, and obviously then I take it out. But I'll see you then, and I'll let you know how long it took.
Oh, it looks delicious. Smells gorgeous.
It's ready, and it was in the oven for 1 hour altogether, and the chicken actually was ready after 45 minutes, but the potatoes, because they're underneath, they were a little bit hard. So what I did, I took advantage of the extra 15 minutes and I turned the chicken round so that it got brown also underneath. And it looks fantastic. I'm now arranging my chicken on a plate, and if I go and find the rosemary, there it is, can you see? It's still green, hasn't burned because it's at the bottom. And there is a lovely smell coming up. Tiny little amount of pepper to just finish it off. Very, very important, and we cannot say that enough, but especially if you've got children, go along and remove all of your toothpicks. and 5. Ensure you count them, because especially if you put more than 5, 1 per piece, very, very dangerous otherwise. And bearing in mind that I have deboned them, obviously you can cut through them easily.
I'd like to see the stuffing.
There you go.
Ooh, lovely.
They look wonderful.
They do. I can see the pancetta too.
Yeah.
It's my favourite part of the day when we get to eat it.
I'm trying to get one with the bacon. There it is. Actually, pancetta, I should say. I don't think there are words to describe it. It's absolutely wonderful. Really nice. I suppose there is a word to describe it. It's lovely. Try it and see what you think. Dead easy. Didn't take very long at all. And if you do not fancy deboning the chicken yourself, either buy it already deboned from the supermarket, as I mentioned. You can find the thighs or ask your butcher. Arrivederci, grazie and buon appetito. Ciao.